making jokes and trying to find analogies to get your point across is never a bad thing. But randomly bringing up somebody, minimizing their work, is not necessarily the best possible way you can go about that job. Here's what Kendrick Perkins had to say while talking about how the Warriors tried to get better players, but ended up settling for somebody not as good. Take a listen.
The Warriors sealing with Jimmy right now as a first-round exit, okay? Listen, I was looking for the Warriors. I'm thinking that they're going to go out there and, go get a Beyonce or Taylor Swift. They end up getting a Nicki Minaj, and that's okay.
Whoa, you about to?
That's just.
Hey, listen.
But that's not.
Whoa.
But that's boy. Not. But that's
the Barbie's gonna get you, boy. The Barbs.
Yo, shout out Chick Smooth. But Perk, Big Perk. Listen, man. You an OG. And I understand most OGs don't understand how the internet works. But Nicki is one of the few celebs in the world where her fan base is like an internet army that she doesn't even have to pay. You might want to chill, dog. You might want to chill, man. This is not your lane. Stick to basketball. Make basketball analogies and basketball analogies only. Or in your defense, make food analogies. Do something like that. But please do not make an analogy with someone who has a full-time internet fan base. Starting things is no good.
I'll get you, boy.
I ain't hard to find. Listen.
At the end there, Kendrick Perkins says, I ain't hard to find, which sounds all good until Lil Wayne reaches out on Twitter using the same analogy that he used, saying the Warriors thought they was getting a Taylor Swift or a Beyonce and ended up getting a Kendrick Perkins. Stop playing, B. But Lil Wayne should have used LeBron and Kevin Durant and then said, but they settled for a Kendrick Perkins, because that would have really upset him. Yeah. That type of statement from Kendrick Perkins does toe that line of personal disrespect to professional critique, because you're not even critiquing Nicki here. You're just trying to throw her under the bus for your little joke. Do you think Kendrick Perkins would?
Nah, but you know what, though? Like, that's what I've been seeing with a lot of people, though. A lot of people do this, like, when they don't like somebody for whatever reason, they just have to find a way to insult them. Or, like, if that person is not their cup of tea, they have to find a way to make them the butt of the joke. It's just, people's personal bias cause them to be very disrespectful for no reason. I'm seeing that more and more as I've gotten older, because there was no reason for Kendrick to make that joke. I mean, and the thing is, like, and Kendrick's like in his 40s, he just doesn't understand how vicious Twitter and other social media platforms could potentially be. And, that's how hip hop artists are, like whether it's Nicki, Beyonce, any musician, their fan base can travel very fast and very quick and very hard. You know what I mean?
Would get flooded on Twitter? Of course he would. They would bring up his net worth compared to Nicki's. They'll call for direct apologies, saying, apologize directly to Nicki Minaj. But remember, you apologize, but it's still treason. Treason, that's the word they're using. This is no game. They're not playing no games with you, Perk. They're calling it treason. They'll continue, don't apologize generally, apologize to Nicki. Your take was gross and careless. Own up to it, not just because, quote, you don't want smoke. They say, nah, be a man and say, I'm sorry, Nicki, just like you should have been a man and not mention or try to diminish her at all. You might not like her, but what you're gonna do is respect her. She's the queen of her genre, just like Beyonce and Taylor are queens in their rights. They would even call him ugly. The barrage will be so intense that, of course, Kendrick would apologize, saying, wish I would have known about the barbs before my Nicki take. Don't charge it to my heart. My apologies. I don't want no smoke. No, you can't.
Yeah, I ain't front, man. Yo, Big Perk jumped himself, man. You gotta be careful, man. That's a problem with a lot of these, media personalities. They've been in mainstream so much, they don't really understand how the real world works. You gotta chill, man. The internet is vicious, man, especially when you're a public figure. Anybody can get it. I mean, you saw what happened with DJ Academics recently. He made a bunch of nasty, inappropriate jokes with a 15-year-old, and he's not canceled, but, he is close to it. Everyone has to be careful, man. Stop letting your personal feelings and your personal bias make you say disrespectful things to people, or the disrespectful things about people, and you're not even a real fan of them. Because that's really where this is coming from, man. I don't know whether he did this for shock value. He did it because the producer told him to say this to make him look like an idiot or to get ESPN's name buzzing. You know, I don't know. I just think sometimes some of these jokes, they be going a little too far.
Can't do that. They warned you in real time. Watch your mouth, because those people on Twitter do not play about that lady. And you chose to say,
ain't hard to find. Listen,
which to them is a clear declaration of war. And if you're not ready for all those Twitter problems, please keep that lady out.
Yeah, see, I'm telling you, man, like he wasn't ready for this. You know, but I mean, but tell me what y'all think in the comments, though, man. I mean, I thought Perk, he was trying to be funny, but the joke was just like overly disrespectful, in my opinion, because, you know, Nicki, like what? The only female who has a large fan base like Nicki is probably Beyonce. You know, like that's the only person who's like even close to being like they're kind of like in the same ballpark. But other than that, like her, Taylor Swift, that's where she's at with it in terms of a fan base. Like not too many females have a fan base like Nicki. That's why she's still relevant to this day. And yo, her fans are vicious on Twitter, IG. Yo, even when she has the Queen radio chats, the TikTok lives, like they'll defend her to the fullest. Like that's the type of fan base every public figure or any content creator should strive for. It's like your own army. You don't even gotta do nothing. Like they'll tag you in something and they'll clown the person for you. Like that's like the best thing to have. That's the best thing to have. But you know, we'll see how this plays out though. But I do like the fact that a lot of media spaces, like, you know, ESPN, Fox, you know, stations like that, now they're being called out more by social media. They're being called out more by social media. And on top of that, you have YouTubers, you know, streamers calling them out as well. Because, you know, you didn't see this like 5 to 10 years ago. Even Stephen A. recently, you know, I think Nicki had an argument or a disagreement with Jay-Z. And Stephen A. was like, oh, well, you know, I like Jay-Z. So if he said something that I didn't like, I would never question him. But then he started disrespecting Nicki in the process. Like a lot of these old heads, you know, the people who are older, they just don't understand what they could get themselves into anytime they're playing on the internet. And shoot, even YouTube now is like a huge, you could consider it a big social media platform now. Everyone could give their opinions, say what they want. And on top of that, you can make bread from it. So it's a lot going on, man. It's the same thing that you saw with Big Meech. Why you think Big Meech got into it with Fifth when he took the picture with Rick Ross? Because he was so used to being inside the jail cell, he doesn't know how the internet works. So as soon as he took that picture with Rick Ross, it was pretty much game over. Like, sure, I'm pretty sure 50's diehard fans, they found that video before he even saw it. That's how real the internet is, all right? So you got to be careful what jokes you make. I'm out.